next speakers are Robert Kruger and Tony Siebert Wooldridge. Robert Kruger is horticulturist and curator at the USDA ARS National Clonal Germplasm Repository for Citrus and Dates in Riverside, California. He is responsible for the acquisition, maintenance, distribution, documentation, and evaluation of germplasm of citrus, date palms, and their relatives. Tony is a senior museum scientist and has been a member of the UC Riverside Givaudan Citrus Variety Collection and Core Citrus Breeding Program for 18 years, and please correct me if I said that incorrectly. Her position is to support and oversee curatorial research, conservation, and outreach activities at the GCVC, and research associated with the Core Citrus Breeding Program to breed, identify, and evaluate new citrus scion varieties. Major responsibilities include field and greenhouse management, staff management, new varieties management, database and website management, laboratory management for fruit quality analysis, and conventional and mutation citrus breeding for scions. Their presentation title this afternoon is USDA UCR Australian Finger Lime Selection Update. And now Robert and Tony.
Hi, everybody. So we have a video we're going to show first, and then we'll come back live. If you have any questions, we'll try and answer them. So this video, we are having some audio issues with it earlier, so be prepared to turn down the audio at the very beginning and then turn it back up a little bit later on. And now we'll see if we can pull off the screen sharing. Hello everybody, my name is Robert Kruger. I am a horticulturist at the National Clonal Germplasm Repository for Citrus and Dates, a management unit of the United States Department of Agriculture Agricultural Research Service. We are located here at UC Riverside. We're out in the Agricultural Experiment Station, and you are seeing approximately 120 fingerline seedlings. We are going to tell you about a collaborative effort between ourselves, USDA, and the UC Riverside Citrus Variety Collection to evaluate these seedlings with the hopes of bringing some new and interesting cultivars into the industry. So the origin of these finger limes are 3 open pollinated seedlots we received from New South Wales, Australia in 2012. We had about 100 seeds of each seedlot, and they were originally from selections by Judy Viola or some of her colleagues. And so they're numbered as RSD 2012-025 through 027. 025 is Plumobia pink crystal, 26 is Byron Sunwise, 27 is Judy's Everbearing. I've been advised since then that as these are zygotic seedlings, we even consider using these cultivar names, even if very similar to the original selections. Soon after arrival, they were planted and germinated in the greenhouse. So if you want information on these, you can find it, what little we have, on our USDA GRIN Global search site. And here's the URL, which is npgsweb.ars-grin.gov/gringlobal/search. When you get here, be sure to use the advanced search or list search and select all. As you can see on this screenshot, I have put all 3 of the accession numbers into the list search and selected all, so I will see even selections and cultivars that are not yet released or available. Here's just an example of the interface to see the information we do have on the site at this time. You'll note under narrative there are some links to the Australian Cultivar Registration Authority, which is shown here. Now these 3 cultivars are recognized by the Australian Cultivar Registration Authority, but this does not assert any sort of intellectual property rights over them. I have been informed that as these are zygotic seedlings, making a selection and creating a new cultivar should not be an issue. It should also be noted that these selections from Australia are not listed as being protected under Australian plant breeders' rights as shown on this website. Now to look at the characteristics of the materials as received, RSD 2012-025 was received as Blue Nobia Pink Crystal. This was from the O'Brien Farm at Mount Burrell, Murwillumbah in 1988. It and all these line selections are described as being between 1.5 and 3 inches long by 1/2 inch to 1 inch wide. This particular section has green skin with brown overtones and deep pink flesh that is easy to extract from the line. RSG 2012-026 was received as Byron Sunrise. It's from Alstonville, New South Wales, and was selected in 2000. It's the same size as the previous selection. This one, however, has skin that is mottled green-brown to black and is smooth. The flesh is tangerine or red and becomes darker when exposed to air for several hours. Our final selection is RSD 2012-027, which was received as Judy's Everbearing. It is called this because, in contrast to the other selections, it bears some fruit year-round. Most of the finger limes bear their best fruit in the fall. In our California situation here in October and November, that's why we did the evaluations at that time. So Judy's Everbearing was selected at Binnaburra, which is near Bangalow, New South Wales, in 1993. It's the same size as the previous two selections. This one has a green-brown to maroon skin with green to dark pink flesh. And there's a picture of it here, marketed as a commercial variety in Australia.
Hi, my name is Tony Siebert-Wooldridge, and I'm a senior museum scientist, and I've been working in the UC Riverside Citrus Variety Collection since 2004. And one of the primary activities in my job is fruit quality. And this is the first time we've ever evaluated Australian finger limes. So these trees were planted in 2016, and by 2018 we were beginning to see the first crops. And what we saw was that all of these trees had slightly different looking fruit, different shapes, different colors, size, and we thought, wow, this is so unique. We should develop a very unique fruit quality protocol. And so we started doing our research right away. And what we discovered was that it was really difficult to find anything in citrus descriptors that we could use and would apply to microcitrus. We did find a lot of really valuable information from Australian publications, especially when it came to internal and external colors. But we did run into some trouble when it came to descriptors for items such as fruit shape. And so we found ourselves leaning on other crops and their descriptors for crops such as chili pepper. We collected other phenotypic traits such as fruit size, which we broke down into different categories. We also collected length and width standard measurements in millimeters. We collected information on external texture. And we also collected information on seed count and flavor and the texture of the vesicles when we tasted the individual fruits.
So in June 2014, 40 seedlings from each seed lot were propagated on Citrus macrophylla and planted in field 12D at UC Riverside in May of 2016. Our preliminary evaluations were in 2018 and 2019, and in 2020, 64 seedlings were evaluated in October and November. This was a low yield year due to abnormally cold weather patterns at the time of flowering. In 2020, we also presented these selections to the California Citrus Nursery Society to gather input on what they were interested in. And this led to the selection of 17 seedlings for submission for cleanup at the CCPP. 2021, the 17 selections were evaluated in November and December, and juice vesicles were collected to do titration analysis. So as I mentioned, we presented these finger lime selections to the California Citrus Nursery Society in the fall of 2020 to solicit input on which the ones they found the most interesting. And so we presented all 70 of them and asked them to rate them using the Zoom polling service These were then divided into 3 groups based upon the responses. We have 3 groups of high to low priority for cleanup. So now let's take a quick look at the 17 selections, starting with the highest priority, Group 1.
Robert, we're confirming with you
So
that
now I'd
there
like to
is
tell you what we're planning to do in the future. First, it needs to be released by USDA. I'm talking about released, making available to the public, and not releasing from quarantine. There's a USDA release procedure we expect to carry out in 2022 to 2023. I will have to prepare a description, data, and a justification for release. This will be reviewed by a committee, and final approval comes from the USDA ARS Administrator's Office. So these will probably be public releases. ARS does not protect very many of their varietal releases, so it should be freely available. We have sent all 17 of these to the CCP, and most of them shoot tip grass. The actual cleanup will be based on the priority list we made, and it'll be worked in with the other CCPP processing, so will not be entirely available at the same time. We expect them to start being available to nurseries in 2023 to 2024. So that's the presentation. And I'm sorry I didn't tell you ahead of time. Yeah, when we were just showing you the pictures of the fruit, there was no audio. We just let the pictures speak for themselves.